I'm here with Michelle Marsh and Robin Bell Stevens, and we're here to talk about a wonderful event that's coming to Riverside Church on February 12th. Thursday, February 12th. It's the Fine Arts Show, and this year the proceeds are going to help keep Jazzmobile swinging for the public. Now, I think both of these, this is such a wonderful thing, and I admire both of you ladies and both of these organizations, because you're both serving the Harlem community.
Exactly, and the Harlem Fine Arts Show actually started about 6 years ago, and the founder of the Harlem Fine Arts Show is a gentleman by the name of Dion Clark. Dion Clark, some of your viewers may know, used to work for Essence Magazine, and then he actually was responsible for getting sponsorship for the Black Fine Arts Show, which was taking place years before the creation of the Harlem Fine Arts Show. And then after the Black Fine Arts Show went away, Dion knew there was a void. He knew there was an audience for Black fine art. So that's why he started the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and he chose February, which is the time the Black Fine Arts Show had been, the same time period. And then he also, when he was working at the Black Fine Arts Show, they also would make sure that a not-for-profit benefited in some way from the opening night. So he took that along with him, and this year he invited Jazzmobile to be the recipient, and it's our 50th anniversary.
And when I think about Jazzmobile, when I think about jazz being synonymous with Harlem, and every summer you're at the Grant's Tomb and Marcus Garvey Park, and you just serve the community. It's free performances that are open to the public.
Right, exactly, and I appreciate you mentioning it. Because years ago, we were actually had a float that looked like a New Orleans float, the black and white surrey on top of a white wrought iron fence, and we traveled throughout the 5 boroughs. And then over the years, we sort of reorganized in terms of how we did our programming for various reasons, funding certainly being one of them. So we now we still travel to most of the 5 boroughs, but we chose larger venues. We still go into some neighborhoods and blocks such as in Florida, Queens. We're in front of the Louis Armstrong House Museum, for instance. We still go to neighborhoods throughout Harlem and Manhattan, and we also still go to the Bronx. And we're planning to go back this year to one of the large areas in the Bronx. There are a lot of people there, certainly is Co-op City.
Right.
That was one of our usual hunts. We're hoping we can go back this year. But also because of some relationships that we formed with the Central Park Conservancy, we brought back Great Jazz on the Green Hill, which actually was started by Johnny Gary and the Central Park Conservancy some years ago, and it was done, oddly enough, as a tribute to Charlie Parker. And it was a precursor to what is now known as the Charlie Parker Festival, which takes place in August downtown in Tompkins Square Park and uptown as well. So we're very excited about the kind of programming that we do. We give exposure to certainly the newer artists and young lions, as we call them, that are coming up. And then we also pay tribute to the legends, the Jimmy Heaths of the world, for example, as we like to say. But we also, this year, we're going to be giving a spot to a young man by the name of Solomon Hicks. And the name of his group is King Solomon. And he used to be a jazz student. He studied in our Saturday Jazz Workshop program.
Well, let's talk about, I need to cut you off, but that's so interesting. So tell us a little bit about the Saturday Jazz program.
Yeah, so the Saturday Jazz Workshop program, Billy Taylor came up with the idea to do it. And he called his good buddy, Jimmy, back in the late 60s, and said, hey, there was a time when we could go into Mitten's Playhouse or go downtown to Eddie Condon's and wait to be called on to get our chance to show our stuff, what we could do. But that no longer existed in the 60s. So that's why he decided to come up with these workshops that would enable these young rising talents like a Najee, for example, a TK Blue, for example, to come and learn how to play the music from the masters. Donald Berg used to be one of our instructors, for example. So then over the years, though, the word got out in the community that you can come get this quality program. Jazzmobile. So Hollywood started arriving and young children started arriving, and we didn't want to turn anyone away. So we certainly embraced everyone who wanted to play the music. This year we're taking a little bit of a twist. We're starting to look to bring back more of the next generation of the Billy Taylors and the Jimmy Heaths of the world. So that's here's a place they can come to improve their music. And we do it at the Wadley School here in Harlem, which is on 114th Street.
See, this is so good. I remember talking to Dizzy Gillespie years ago. I worked on a project with the Bearded Company. It was about Mary Lou Williams' work. Sure. And he and Lionel Hampton got into a discussion about the fact that they couldn't pass it on. They would go to workshops, and there would be young African American kids there to pass it on.
Right.
And they really felt that the roots of jazz needed to stay with the African American young people.
Exactly, to keep it in Harlem. You know, Michelle made an earlier point, which I think is something certainly worth repeating about the art and cultural organizations that are here in Harlem.
Well, having been born here in the 50s and watching what was once glorious from the period of the Harlem Renaissance years, going through the years of the Harlem decline, where sadly drugs and crime came in. There were organizations that thrived and grew through all those painful decades, but most of them are gone. And if you look around, what's so fabulous about Harlem and being celebrated today, you're pretty hard-pressed to find something left that's 50 years old and traditionally black left. We have funeral homes, we have churches, we have Sylvia's, but we have Jazzmobile. So I think on balance, we as community lovers, whether we're born here or not, we have to respect and protect the arts, and that's why my hat goes off to Robin Bell and the decades that she has spent making sure that Jazzmobile, at any level that the organization needs, is going to help to cultivate and keep growing new musicians, you know, to the talent level of the late Billy Taylor and Thelonious Monk, whoever. We got a lot of young ones too that are quite good.
And the art show itself, I'm a fan, and I remember bringing my nephew to the art show for the first time a couple of years ago. And one of the things that was really gratifying was to see so many young artists along with established artists.
Exactly.
And it gave them a platform, just as Jazzmobile does, to have their work seen. And in the same sense, we could walk from booth to booth to booth and see there was a Bearden over here, there was Jacob Lawrence over here, then there was somebody who was weaving baskets and hats over there. And it was just the whole, it felt like an African market.
And this is totally missing from public education today, the enrichment of music and art as a symbiotic relationship, which makes culture and society be the best that it can be.
And also building on what Michelle was just saying, you know, we all know about the STEM programs, science, technology, engineering, and math. My late father happened to have been a Duke Ellington bass player, but he was also Phi Beta Kappa, so he had, you know, he was left brain, right brain, if you will. But he always believed that he was so good at math because he was so good in music. And he was so good in music because he understood math and the concepts. So what Jazzmobile has been saying for the past few years is that STEM is important for sure, but we need to get to STEAM. We need to have science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Because, you know, a STEM is steady and strong, but STEAM will move you forward. And there are studies that have been done that show that those schools, particularly in our communities, where they don't have an arts and culture music program on an ongoing basis as a part of the annual curriculum, those schools, those students, test lower on both verbal and math than other schools, be they public or private, that have quality music and arts programming. So the direct correlation is there. They're talking about it, but unfortunately, it hasn't, the importance of it has not manifested itself in our communities to the extent that people are making sure that those art and cultural programs are there for our children to make them more competitive.
When you say that, you know, I do a lot of work in the schools with dance and choreography, and you can tell the children who are visual learners, who are physically, they're active learners. They have, once they get it kinetically in their body, they have it, and the correlation between. I can also spot those kids who think in three-dimensional thought, who can see patterns. And when I relate choreography and how we move, it's geometry.
Right.
It's all geometry.
Right.
And when you, and that's how I learned it, and that's how when I relay it that way to children, is we're standing in a trapezoid now. We're in this type of shape. We're going to be at a 45-degree
There you
angle.
go. There you go.
It's amazing how it stimulates that visual thinking.
Right, and you talk about the arts. I mean, I think that's a perfect example. I'll never forget the first time a friend of mine was a choreographer. And I always wondered, I said, so when you choreograph something, how do you record it on paper? Musical notes, I understand. So he showed me this page with these things on it, these lines, and I was like, how do you know that? Then he said, well, you know, it's, and he started clapping, he said, well, you know, it's like math, and it's accounting. And you know, you get to this number, you do this number. Again, so to your point, that is, again, it's using math, and it's bringing it all together. Because Jacksonville has also been saying that there's a place for music and arts in almost every subject. If you take a look at geography, if you take a look at, you know, what's happening, you know, where the wars that are going on, you look at all of that, but you also have to look at the culture of the people. What's going on? What, you know, exactly, you know, in terms of the arts, that's all a part of it. So that's the thing that I think that there's an opportunity for schools and for the Board of Ed or the Department of Education. They need to start providing funding so that they can find a way to incorporate, you know, more art. And it's not just having a music class, but just an art class. Understand, I said just. In addition to that, you want to also incorporate that into the other studies. Think about English and literature, you know, for example. There's an easy way to call it too, right?
It's amazing. And you know, when I have residencies, and I'm able to combine disciplines. And then, you know, I teach through the arts. When you come up with a Black History Month or kids, like younger kids learning, for instance, long monologues.
Right.
They learn them in cadence.
Right.
They learn them, they can all rap,
That's
but they
exactly
learn it in cadence.
That's right.
They know every word.
Yes.
How did we all learn the alphabet?
Exactly.
Yes,
Right?
it's a song.
Exactly.
It's a song.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Teach.
So as we talk about education, one of the things I like to talk about is the fact that the Harlem Fine Arts Show also has an education program as part of it. They reached out to 100 Black men, the Metropolitan Chapter of the Links, to work with them in partnership to have schools come in to the Harlem Fine Arts Show so that the children can have that exposure, young people, you know, can have the exposure to not only the art, but also talking to some of the artists and understanding how the art's created. The opportunity for the kids to come and actually talk to the artists and learn not only about art in general, but the creation of the art and the importance of art and how to make it part of their lives, so that it's not just this one experience, that they will go on to museums and galleries throughout the city and appreciate the art.
But what you're doing is you're building the next generation of artists and then art patrons and people who appreciate art.
Exactly.
And you know, so much of our culture gets diffused. And it's just the way, it's just the way society trivializes art in general.
Exactly.
And for some reason trivializes our culture, the culture of the Americans of African descent.
Exactly.
And when you look at the greatness that has been done here in the last 200, 400 years, when you think about it, the artists that have come through, just look at the Renaissance.
Exactly. Exactly. I think it's actually a brilliant idea to mention that, the whole connection with the arts. But again, the whole Harlem Fine Art Show, again, bring it all back to that, it is also celebrating the Harlem Renaissance. As you take a look at some of the artists that are going to be there, and you take a look at, there was a time when you could find arts, finding arts in buildings was normal. I think 135th Street and the YMCA during the WPA program. There's this beautiful mural that still exists, and there were murals throughout Harlem as a result of that program. And we don't have it any longer, although the Harlem Hospital has a beautiful mural in their new building, so they're keeping that tradition or trying to bring that tradition back. But it's all part of our culture, all part of who we are, and so much of it's gotten lost, but this is a way we hope to bring it all back.
So if people want to attend the show, how do they get tickets? Especially for the opening, because this is the big event on Thursday.
On Thursday. So Metro Manhattan chapter of the Links is our premier sponsor and supporter for the opening night. And if you're interested in getting tickets, you can go to www.eventbrite.com. In the search box, you type Jazzmobile, and it'll take you right to the page to purchase your tickets. And you can also visit our website, jazzmobile.org. And then for more information about the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and there's lots to be told there in terms of them being in other cities, like Martha's Vineyard, Chicago, Washington
Atlanta.
DC, they're planning to be in, and they were just in Atlanta this summer. But go to www.hfas.org for more information. And we hope to see you there. Hope
Oh,
you're
I'm
coming.
definitely, I come every year.
Excellent.
I am a fan and a patron.
Excellent.
So I want to thank both of you for
Thank
taking
you.
the time out
Thank you
to
so
talk about
much.
this very worthy cause,
Right.
both the Jazzmobile and the
Harlem Fine Arts, yeah.
Yes.
Music and art,
Mhm.
healers, happiness makers, deal makers sometimes.
Great.
Just the whole ball.
And it's going to be a wonderful weekend to come and just meet some wonderful people.
So it's Thursday through Sunday.
Thursday through Sunday, and again, Thursday is 5:30 to 10 for opening night. And very quickly, we're going to have performing. We're going to have the Danny Mixon Quartet. We're going to have the King Solomon Hicks Trio, one of our former students, and also the uncle, I believe, of Spike Lee, Mr. Cliff Lee +3.
Wonderful. So you got to come out.
Come out and enjoy.
Enjoy. Great. Thank you.